with the Census Bureau in the Denver region, and I am stationed here in Albuquerque, but I cover the whole state. And my lanes or my areas of expertise in the Census Bureau are faith based outreach, K 12 schools, and early childhood. Before I begin with my presentation, I'd like to show you a video that that really shows you a little summary of what the 2020 census is about, its importance, and why we are so adamant about every group and every house of worship getting involved in an awareness campaign that lets people know how important the census is. Watch this.
The 2020 census is closer than you think, and it's up to us to get counted. The census will count everyone living in our nation and will determine funding for community services for the next 10 years. What services are important to you? Safe roads, great schools for your children, high-quality health care and emergency preparedness? They will all be funded based on the results of the 2020 census. We all have busy lives, but it's important that everyone in your household gets counted. And by everyone, we mean everyone. Moms, dads, children, grandmas, grandpas, relatives, friends, they all count if they live in your household. And participating in the census has never been easier. You can fill out the census by mail, by phone, even online. So let's get counted and receive the funding we deserve.
For New Mexico's children, for health care, for safe roads and bridges.
Get counted.
Get counted. It's good for New Mexico.
Shape your future. Start here.
So the census will count every resident in the United States, and we do that every 10 years, mandated by the Constitution. The next census is in 2020, and we will count about 330 million people in the nation in more than 140 million housing units in a matter of 4 months. We are hiring about 600,000 people to do the work of the 2020 census, but that is a drop in the bucket compared to the awareness that we need to exert all over the nation. And that's why we're reaching out to community partners, to houses of worship, to ask them to help us partner with the Census Bureau to make sure that everybody gets counted. Why do we do a census? Because Article 1, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution mandates us to do that. Every 10 years, we are supposed to count every single resident, not just citizen, but resident. Whoever lives here gets counted. And there is a reason why we count. There's 3 reasons why the census is important. So if you can remember these, I think it would be a great way to share this with other people. The census, the 2020 census, is about power, it is about knowledge, and it is about money. Why do I say that it is about power? Because the census, the results of the census will determine how the House of Representatives is apportioned in 2021. So it's according to population. So if our state loses population, we lose a representative in the House of Representatives. If we gain population, then we gain representatives, we gain representation. And we know that representation is power. It's also about redistricting. According to population shifts, our cities and our counties are going to be redistricted, which gives more power to some districts and less power to others. And so the census really is about bringing power to our communities. The census is also about knowledge. Local governments use the census data for public safety and emergency preparedness. You've all heard this, right? According to the 2010 census, according to the 2000 census, all that data is used by nonprofits, by faith-based institutions, by governments, by businesses, to do the work that we all do. Census data is used for determining areas eligible for housing assistance and rehab loans. It's used to know how and where to design facilities for the elderly, children, and people with disabilities. Businesses also use the data to see if in fact a factory can be placed in a certain part of a certain city, or a business can be placed there, a store can be placed there, depending on population, depending on demographics. So the census data will result in valuable knowledge for all of us. Lastly, the census is about money, and this is where this is where the rubber meets the road, because it's about the $675 billion that get allotted to the states based on census data every single year. And that money is spent on schools and hospitals, roads, public works, and other vital programs. Why should we be counted? Because it is the law. Every resident needs to be counted. It is safe, and I'll cover that in a little bit. It is easy. There's only actually 9 questions, not 10, but 9, because the citizenship question was removed from the 2020 census. There will only be 9 questions. It takes about 10 to 20 minutes to fill out the form. It is really easy, and it is very important. Beyond this, it is our right to be counted. We all get a voice in the 2020 census. Census Day is April 1st of 2020, but for the first time in our history, we are going online on March 12th. That means that people can fill out their forms online and by phone starting on March 12th. There are 4 ways that we're going to be able to respond to the census. We can respond to the census in person, of course, just like we've always done it. I'm sorry, not in person, but by mail. You will receive a form in the mail. Most households will receive a form in the mail. If they don't, then they will be hand delivered to that household, and you can complete that with a pen and mail it back to us. You can also respond to the census by phone in 13 languages, and you can do it online in one of 59 languages. And if that doesn't work, if maybe a household does not get counted in one of those 3 ways, then a census worker will come to the door and ask that that household be counted in person. But self-response, that means that people actually take the time to mail a form, to call on the phone, or to fill out a form online. Self-response will last until July 24th of 2020. The 2020 census is safe, and our information is confidential because we take it very seriously to protect the confidentiality of your records. So how many of you today have checking accounts or accounts with a credit card company? We give them so much information because we consider that our data is as safe as it can be with them, right? Well, banks have 7 levels of encryption. The Census Bureau in 2020 will have 15 levels, 15 levels, more than double the levels of encryption that a bank has for your information. So it is secure and it is confidential. Every single employee, from the Secretary of Commerce all the way down to the census taker that comes to doors, we all have an employee oath. And if we share personal identifiable information with anyone, we can be penalized with 5 years in prison or $250,000 in fines. So we have a very strong incentive to keep information confidential. How does it affect us here in New Mexico? We also already said the $675 billion are distributed among the states. Well, here in New Mexico, we receive $7.8 billion every single year informed by census data. You wonder, how does federal funds get decided? Like who gets what and how much? It is informed by census data. And so these $7.8 billion come in the form of hospitals and Medicaid and healthcare, CHIP, SNAP, infrastructure, roads, schools for our children, early childhood services, and higher education services for our college students. These are things that we all use. These are things that we all need, and we kind of take for granted because they're always there. But did you know that these funds are determined by population count? So when people don't get counted in New Mexico, that means less money. And I'm going to tell you how much just now. New Mexico receives $3,000 per person that is counted per year. And so, say for example, my family, we have 5 people in my family. If I decide, you know what, I'm not going to be counted because the Census Bureau already has my information because I work for them. If I don't get counted in the census, that's 3,000 times 5 people. That's $15,000 a year that the state loses just because my family did not get counted. But you have to multiply that for 10 years because this funding is set for 10 years. So for my family not being counted, the state will miss $150,000 of federal funds that fund hospitals, schools, higher education, roads, and infrastructure, just on one family. Consider then that 25% of the New Mexican population did not participate in the census in 2010. It doesn't mean that the Census Bureau didn't count them, but 25% decided not to participate. And we had to go door to door. So this time we have to do a better job so that we can get better funding, more than $7.8 billion, because our state needs it and our state deserves it. So let's talk about who will be counted and where. Homeowners, renters, and household members with one residence will be counted at their home. So where you live, that's where you need to be counted. That's the address that counts for that form. If you are vacationing in Taos on April 1st or in New York for some reason, you don't count in New York, you don't count in Taos, you count where you live, and that would be here in Albuquerque for us who are at this meeting. Children that are under shared custody, say that your little boy spends 6 months with mom in her home and 6 months with dad in his home, then that child will be counted where he is on April 1st. But if he spends more than 6 months with dad, then he should be counted at dad's house. And that's just for children, but everybody will be counted at their household. Non-citizens, that means people who do not have U.S. citizenship. That's legal residents. That is people who don't have a legal status in this country. They count in this 2020 census. There is no way for anybody who reads the form to find out whether you are a citizen or not. But non-citizens must be counted too, because we need the services that are provided by the federal government. Residents of group facilities like jails, prisons, nursing homes, college students will be counted as a group in their group facility. We will talk to the director of that group facility and ask for their records before March 12th. So sometime in February, group quarter counting will start for group homes and nursing homes and such. Persons living abroad, if they live abroad permanently, they don't count in the 2020 census, but if they are living abroad there for 2 months or something like that and come back, they will be counted according to a federal process. Persons in shelters, in those experiencing homelessness, if they sleep regularly at a shelter, they will be counted in the group quarters counting, so they will be counted at their shelter or at their soup kitchen. But if there are people that do not use those services, that sleep on the street, we will, as a bureau, we will go out one night during the spring of 2020, and we will go into every community, determine which streets and where the homeless hang out at night, and we will count people on the street. So we have a system for that as well. The most undercounted populations in the nation are renters, which our state is full of. We need to make sure that renters know that the form is coming and that they can fill it out even if they never see the form. They can fill it out online or on the phone. Children under 5 years of age are heavily undercounted. We missed 1 million of them in the 2010 census. We need to make sure the families know that children need to count so that we have funding for the services they need. Young adults and ethnic minorities are some of the hardest to count populations in the country. So right now we are educating groups of leaders like you, asking for your help to create awareness in the organizations and the parishes that you lead. And in January, we're asking all of us to have our strategies ready so that come January, we are ready to release an awareness campaign, talk to people about the census, know our stuff, and tell them how important it is, facilitate them filling out their forms at our parishes, at our ministries, or at our businesses, and remind people how important it is to be counted. For the Archdiocese of Santa Fe, thank God we have a wonderful plan that we agreed upon with the Archbishop and the leadership of the Archdiocese, and we are so grateful to Archbishop because he completed a letter that every parish should have gotten by now, and it is a great letter of support where he asks every parish, every minister, to engage in an awareness campaign. And I know that the Archdiocese, we've worked on a Archdiocese-wide awareness campaign where you'll see communications going out from the main office and newsletters, videos, social media, different things. And so we have that. We also have a ministry wide awareness campaign. If you lead a ministry, you can create your own awareness campaign, of course, based on the Archdiocese wide awareness campaign that they have as well. And also, you can, as a parish, you can have an individual awareness campaign, and I can work directly with you. You can ask Ann Avalone or Deacon Andy Carrillo for the resources that the Archdiocese is producing. But there's some ideas that you can use to create awareness in your ministry. For example, you can have a Census Sunday. This is something that the Archbishop promoted in his letter. You can do a Sunday, have a Sunday in March of 2020 that is focused on the census. Of course, not the sermon, but a part of the service where you talk to people about getting involved, about participating, answering their questions, and opening your fellowship hall or any room that you have, putting tablets there, mobile phones, or computers where people can actually fill out the form, and where there's internet access and they can fill out their form online that way. You can develop a communication strategy if you have a newsletter, if you have social media that you use for your parish. If you send phone messages to your parishioners, you can use that to create awareness. Of course, pulpit announcements from a pastor go a long ways in letting people know that it's okay to participate in the census. It would be great if pastors would talk about the census from their pulpits. And like I said, it would be great for parishes on a Sunday, 2, 3, 4, or 5 of them, to have tablets and computers available for members to fill out their forms. We are working with several denominations, several church leaders on what we call a faith-based toolkit. And right now, we already have the recording of an hour and a half training for anybody that wants to know more about the 2020 census. We have a video that I showed you earlier in this presentation that you can have for the use for your church use. There's poster files, bulletin inserts that are ready to go, talking points for pastors that you can use if you want to talk about it yourself or answer questions from your members. We have social media posts, graphics. We have PowerPoint presentations that you can use during your services, and we are working on examples of scriptures and sacred texts relevant to the census. And we are currently working on lesson plans for Sunday school teachers. We have Christian and Jewish plans, but we need other faith represented as well. Some of the help that we need to finish this toolkit is if anybody here or anybody, if you know anybody in your parishes that would want to help us with this, we need some help with designing lessons for children. We already have the preschool lessons ready, but we need lessons for kids in kinder through 5th grade, middle school, high school, women's ministry resources, and even Census Sunday ideas for churches that want to have them but don't know what to do during Census Sunday. Some activities for the kids, talking points for the pastor, etc., etc. If you would like to help us with that, please contact me. At the end of this presentation, I'll show you my contact information so you can contact me. Right now, we are hiring about 3,500 people in our state, and you can go to 2020census.gov/jobs to apply for jobs. But please share this with everybody in your parish who want to hire people within their communities to go door to door, people that your neighbors trust, so that we can count people that perhaps will not respond by themselves. So you can go to 2020census.gov/jobs for census taking jobs. And if you want managerial jobs with the Census Bureau as they become available, then you can go to usajobs.gov. Please follow us on social media, spread the word. We are on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram, and you can use the hashtag 2020census whenever you post online so that can be followed by other people in the nation as well. If you do have any questions or any suggestions, or if you want to invite me to your parish to talk to your leaders or to your members, I encourage you to use this contact information. You can call me at 715-3275 or email me at mercy.n.alarid@2020census.gov. And I want to thank you so much for giving me the time to present today, and I look forward to hearing from many of your parishes and helping you create awareness so that our state is fully funded and represented well in the next decade. Thank you so much.